You are listening to the Tuesday Review on live on 98.9 Northwest FM. Now, I'm Nathan, as always, joined by Callum and James. How you going, boys?
Not bad, pretty
We're
good.
here.
Yeah.
We're still here.
Yeah.
Survive another week.
Yeah, wasn't it? You know.
Yeah, that's we addressed this at the end of the last episode. But a couple of things in housekeeping area of the show have changed. We're now off Twitter, much to James's pleasure.
Thank God. Still wading those waters.
That's it.
Callum,
But we
get out of there.
But we're now
It's
on,
only doing harm.
we're now on Team Zuck. We're now on Threads.
Well, yeah, I'm not happy about that either. But yeah,
It's better than being on Team Elon.
straight up Nazi. It's
Yeah.
just thinly veiled Nazi, but
At least moderation's going pretty well on Threads.
Actually,
at least.
yeah,
they're banning users.
all the safety things they removed from Twitter, they've kept on Threads. So yeah, it's not as bad. Not as many Nazis.
They're just going back to Twitter. Look, give them their space. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now it's just Nazi Twitter.
That's it, yeah.
It was nicknamed that, but now literally that's everyone who's there.
So please follow us on Threads.
Yeah. So we're off Twitter. Finally, we're still on Facebook a bit. Instagram's our main place, but now we're on Threads, which is still new. So there's still a lot of things to be updated. But yeah, it's at Tuesday Review AU. Make sure you're not following us on Twitter anymore. Delete that.
If you do follow us on Twitter, I do have a link that redirects to our Threads account as well.
So make sure you're on the Instagram and the Threads, especially for updates on the show, and especially in the next few weeks because we have a special announcement. So if you're not following us, you're going to miss out.
And we're going to try to be a little bit more active, possibly, on some of these things.
Yeah, hope so. Yeah,
new social account, new attitude. New account, new us.
New financial year, new us.
That's it.
It's July now, so.
All right, we'll get straight into it. We were talking last week or the week before about the
couple weeks ago, yeah,
the Writers Guild striking.
Yeah,
and now the Screen Actors Guild is striking.
Yeah.
Solidarity.
Yes, actors strike. So hopefully that means that these big companies and, movie studios will be forced to make a deal. It's
really interesting. So a couple of the points that a document was recently released, leaked. I don't know if it was officially released or not. It was the demands they had, some of their initial demands to the studios. And it was simple things that in Australia we take for granted. Yeah. So things like proper lunch breaks. Yeah. Another one was getting paid on time. I think. And then it was just flat out rejected. Yeah. All these reasonable things the Screen Actors Guild are asking for, just rejected out of hand. No entertaining any notions. You know what I mean? Yeah. Just flat out rejection at every turn. Yeah. That's the thing. It's like. You think of a strike and it's like, oh, they must just want more money, whatever. But you think of the working conditions in America versus in Australia, the laws they have. We have pretty good worker protection versus America, where it's just a free-for-all. Yeah, it's also Mad Max over there. Yeah, something we didn't talk about, which is very important with the writers' strike and now the actors' strike and any other strike in America, is their health insurance is tied to their employment. Yeah. So if they don't have good, steady employment, they're screwed. Their health is on the line because they don't have insurance. So that's all, Yeah, especially what they call jobbers in America, you're in Hollywood, I should say. Your actors who aren't big names, but they're that guy from that show who's in a couple of these things. Yeah. People who don't make thousands of dollars. But that's the thing. Hundreds of thousands of dollars an episode. First it was with the writers where they're not rich people, much like the screenwriters. No, well that's what I was talking about with the writers. So they need that health insurance. Yeah. And they need that steady employment, not just, in the case of the actors now, it's scanning an actor and now we own your image for all of eternity. They did that to Snowpiercer, season 4 with Netflix. All the actors got scanned, or at least the main actors got scanned, and Netflix wouldn't tell them why, for a show about a dystopian future where the rich... Yeah, which brings us to my favorite subject, Tom Cruise. Ah, yes. Apparently, it's come out that in June... Tom Cruise was mediating with the studios and the Screen Actors Guild to address these AI concerns, which is very on point for our review last week. I made that joke last week when we talk about Mission Impossible. I'm if Tom Cruise walks in and says, hey,
Don't get between me and my movies.
Yeah.
yeah.
Don't get me in my death wish.
We are now also joined by Alan. How you going, Alan?
What's going on? I'm happy to be here.
Hello.
Yes.
Tom Cruise says, "Don't get in the way of me and my church donations."
Church, quote unquote.
Hey, it's a non-profit, I think.
Yeah.
It's a non-profit that's very much for profit.
Except in Germany where they're like, no. Like, get the hell out. And that's why, like, Scientology hasn't got a foothold there.
So it's going to be interesting to see what happens if it gets resolved quickly.
Yeah.
The studios are doubling down and they're saying no. But at the end of the day, it's like it's...
Well,
now, not to play devil's avocado on the whole AI thing, the claim that clarified it was that, no, they'd only get AI rights for that particular movie or show. It wouldn't be in perpetuity.
Was this? Where did you read this?
This was from a...
But in perpetuity in regards to the movie or show?
Like,
could they do a special edition edit of a movie and, like, change the actor...
that also leads to a question of royalties.
Yeah.
So royalties are right now terrible for anyone.
You're taking them out of the equation completely.
Yeah, you're taking them out and saying, we're just going to pay you a fee for your likeness, and then we can use your... And it might not be use your likeness for eternity in every project, but it might be we can...
Also, if it's IP... Was it that particular project, or was it based on IP? So if they make a sequel, do they...
Yeah, if it's a franchise, yeah.
Yeah, there's all kinds of unknowns and variables. Yeah. And look, with the way the studios are doubling down, they're probably not good intentions.
Well, it came out before the actors' strike, when the writers were striking. It came out, there was that their whole strategy. It's
just to wait people out until they have to sell their houses.
They're starving and they lose their houses.
And
so
Ron Perlman, did you see what he said on Twitter?
No, but I know it's going to be savage.
Yeah, no. Well, he said to paraphrase in cleaner language.
Yeah.
He said there's more than one way to lose a house.
Yeah,
he would know.
He said, we know who it is, we know where they live, there's more than one way to lose a house.
Very Sons of Anarchy.
Channeling Sons of Anarchy.
He's the best. As much as I hate Twitter, the way he goes after trolls and like Nazis is so good.
But hopefully it gets resolved soon enough.
Just thought we'd talk about it because it's an unfolding situation.
Don't get between Tom Cruise and his movies.
Yeah, don't get between us and our movies.
Yeah, but at the same time,
that's it.
This is all I have.
If your goal is to pay yourself a $30 million bonus, that does rely on there being a movie to release.
I mean, that's
right?
But also, at the end of the day,
relies on the business making a profit.
Yeah, the writers and the actors are the resource, right? If the studios don't have those resources, they're not going to be able to stay open. It's not...
Also, we're going to see a doubling down of, like, UK content, Korean content, like, overseas content that's not affected by...
They're asking a lot of the UK actors to sort of not, aid...
Well, the UK union is not allowed to strike in solidarity. It's, like, part of their union rules or whatever. So, like, UK production can still go ahead and there's no...
Yeah, and they have to obligate their
and other contracts. European and Asian kind of content shouldn't be affected. So, but you're going to probably see a doubling down on that from like Netflix, and they will try to milk it as long as possible before they start to feel like, oh, we need these. So I read that back.
I can't remember what date it is, but I read that the theory is that if the strike can go for so long that it begins to affect content for the fall or whatever it is, that's when studios will start to fold. Because what happens is there will be studio contracts that, like, the studios have to have their own contracts to deliver content at a certain time. And if they can't pay for all of that, suddenly it's like a House of Cards situation. But either way, a lot of these studios spend a lot of money doing dodgy things. They get a lot of money doing dodgy things.
Yeah.
You only need one domino to continue using terrible metaphors, and then that's it.
But it's not all doom and gloom, because the Screen Actors Guild has clarified and said independent productions can still move forward as long as they're not...
Yeah, there are exceptions.
There are exceptions. So we might be able to see some pretty decent lower budget movies coming out of this.
I think when we're talking about this...
Yeah, send us a screen review if you're an indie,
Oh, yeah, we'll review your movie.
But potentially with some big actors. They got nothing else to do.
Oh, yeah. But what was I going to say? What were you talking about?
The independent films can still go forward.
Oh, yeah. When we talking about this with the writer's strike, was it with the writer's strike? Or was it... Oh, no, we were talking about this recently. Where we were like... big budget movies are so stale.
Yeah, Steven Spielberg
maybe it was Mission Impossible. Yeah, it's like big budget movies are so like AI, CG, boring, stale, safe that now like we're gonna end up going to see stuff that's like really low budget and indie and
and I forget who said Callum referenced this the other week I think as well. It's easier to steal $1 million when your production costs $100 million than it is to steal $1 million when your production costs $10 million.
Yeah, because there was
it's part of the Hollywood accounting.
There was a question because one of the reasons that we're getting to such a big drama in Hollywood now is because movies are costing $200. So Spielberg, like 20 or 30 years ago or something like that, he prophesized that
he called it out.
Yeah. Once movies cost $250 million to make and they bomb, Hollywood will implode. And he said this like 30, 40 years ago. And we've got to that point now.
Yeah.
So back in the day when you had $20 million, let's just say, to make a movie, you could make a good looking film, have all the effects you need, blah, blah, blah. But you can't really steal that much from it because the accounting is so tight on a $20 million film.
Yeah.
Especially, because, actors' wages, the set design, the marketing, blah, 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 blah. 20 million is a lot to us in the studio, but it's not a lot to Universal.
Again, we're not casting aspersions on anyone in particular.
No, we totally are. But I am directly casting aspersions. It's like
allegedly.
When you make a movie that costs $300 million and then you spend like 50 million making it or whatever, 100 million even 250 million, and then it tanks, but everyone's getting a golden parachute after it. There's
Callum mentioned a specific incident or something that was talked about. I can't remember what it was. When it was like, they would cast, when they built like a set and the furniture didn't go with the background, they'd be like, oh no, what a shame, that I'll just take that home then.
There was one of the producers on a film, like not a high level producer, but like just some dude who was working as a middleman in a movie, like a middle management role. He would see, like, all the top executive producers and stuff. They would just take stuff home and be like, oh, it doesn't fit the scene. Yeah. Well, we've already bought it. Guess it's in my truck now. And they just take it home. So it's not just, like, the bottom line dollar amount. It's also the stuff that they enrich themselves with from the production.
So all your greedy executives and managers in these studios are probably just like, no, man, the gravy train's not going to end.
Yeah, that's right. They need these $300...
We're already taking home 30, 40, $50 million bonuses, plus all the money that's probably under the table.
Yeah,
right?
and they need these
when your
$300
movies
million
cost $200 million, Hollywood accounting goes a lot further.
Yeah.
But anyway, I guess we'll hopefully see some indie movies.
Yeah, and hopefully this is all resolved in the right way, you know, in the actors' and writers' favour, and we can
get
Severance season 2.
I'll also take a burn down of Los Angeles a bit.
Yeah, I mean, we're
riots.
Hashtag eat the rich. Like
studio exec homes, as and maybe throwing some, as one famous man once said, Mazel Tov cocktails.
As much as I love movies, like I would rather them not be made than people be exploited. Yeah. And if Hollywood collapsing means that it's like more equality for working people, I'm fine with that. I've got enough movies.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. A guy I follow on Twitter was like, at least it's happening now, because there's no one clamoring at the gate saying we need more streaming content, we need more to watch on Netflix. We have plenty to get us over the line until the strikes are resolved.
It wouldn't hurt for A24 or Blumhouse, like some of these smaller companies, to just be like, yes, big titans crumble.
Well, I mean, A24's been killing it lately, and I think they're probably affected by the strike too, but they're probably closer to.
Well, I said
what's the word? Like, they're not Warner Brothers level.
They're not megacorp.
I said to Nathan, I'm surprised all the big people in the different guilds didn't just get together and form a small production studio and then give themselves the benefits they want and then make movies. Have like two simultaneous Hollywoods. You've got your big bloated Hollywood, and then you have your leaner.
Hollywood to move in, boys.
That's possible. I mean, the movie industry,
leaner Hollywood.
The movie industry started in the East Coast in New York, and then it moved over to the West Coast. I mean, it's possible. Everything's shot in Canada now. A lot of stuff's shot in Australia. I think it's possible things change and the place moves.
The problem isn't the production companies or the studios. The problem is the theatre ownership.
That too, which the studios own a lot of theatres.
That's the problem. Because I can make all these movies.
You know what the problem is?
Capitalism.
Capitalism. Thank you.
Because what's the Netflix thing? Was it Don't Pirate This Movie? Was it the Netflix thing?
Oh.
That goes into it. Go watch that at home, please.
this movie is not yet
Yeah,
rated.
Yeah, this movie's not yet rated.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like, go watch that again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We talked about that on the old show.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
ages ago.
Yeah, but that's a good one to watch for more insight into
It's
this
like almost
issue.
20 years old now, but it's still relevant.
It's still relevant.
Yeah.
And
It's kind of crazy.
none of this is getting fixed until theaters are not owned by the studios.
Yeah.
Because
Which,
I can
I
make a
remember
movie,
we
and
talked-
if I'm, against the big studios, are they going to show my movie?
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, we talked about, when we were talking about the streaming wars and yada yada, and we were just like, I was like, eventually it's going to be Disney cinema, and it's
Yeah.
going to be
Yeah.
Amazon cinema. Like, there's going to be no cinema chains. It's just going to be, and the only movies going to be playing are like 4D IMAX superhero movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yes. So look, we'll see what happens, but hopefully, the actors, the writers, and all the people behind making movies come out on top, and not the executives.
yeah, join your union.
Yeah.
Support them if you can.
I paid my first ever union dues this week.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it was, I
It
didn't.
was a couple weeks.
Yeah, it was a couple
ago.
weeks ago we talked about Writer's Strike. Maybe listen to that if you haven't. But I think it was community fund.
We'll repost the link on social.
Yeah, and we'll put it in the description.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to do a review roundtable this week as well, and I guess I'll start it off because I've been feeling a vibe lately for, fittingly, kind of like your Hollywood noir. Like your Hollywood noir, your kind of seedy underbelly of Hollywood kind of story. I've been watching a couple of those. Recently, I watched Lethal Weapon last night. And even though technically it's not a noir,
I wouldn't say. But yeah, it's got that.
It has some of those elements in
Yeah.
it. And I'm, having a good time. I watched...
You just watched the first one so far?
So far, they're all on stands. I'll get through them.
Yeah.
But I watched the first one. I'm watching them with my mum.
Two's probably the best. Yeah.
Under the Silver Lake is also a good one, but that's...
I've been meaning to watch that since it came out.
But the
a million years
ending...
ago. I've heard it's
iffy. It's one of those movies that's kind of psychedelic in a bad way, where it's like you don't know what's kind of... Is it happening on screen or is it not?
Yeah.
But I'm in that kind of vibe lately, where it's kind of like your seedy Hollywood underbelly.
Yeah.
Like, your kinds of your prostitution, your murder, your secrets, the Hollywood kind of sinister
the seedy
element.
underbelly of LA.
That's
Yeah.
I'm into that at the moment, which is good. Kind of. I've also been playing later on. I'll get to
we'll
what I've
talk
been
about
playing.
that later.
But yeah, Lethal Weapon 1, fantastic movie.
So good.
So good. I haven't watched it in quite a while. Oh, so good. I know Mel Gibson's problematic.
It's also
but so is his character.
yeah, that's true.
Just as a quick
It's
aside,
also-
I saw the funniest thing on Twitter about Mel Gibson the other day. There's a movie that I ironically want to watch called Sound of Freedom. Have you heard of that one? It's like QAnon.
This is a
conservative
problematic.
man
I've heard this
saving the-
because Jim Caviezel is like a weird MAGA guy, and he's like the main.
This is a problematic movie because it's also true. The events that happen in the movie.
I don't know anything about
Yeah,
it.
it's based on true events, but they ended up saving more kids from the adrenochrome drinking Democrats in real life. What? That's
So
that's
it's
obviously
about-
hyperbole.
It's about basically efforts made to rescue kids from human trafficking, and the events, most of the events in the movie are true, but the movie also presents them with a weird QAnon spin.
Okay.
That is not
yeah,
true.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
which is so like.
Mel Gibson was promoting this film, but he's not involved with the film. He just got really drunk,
So-
and he
Also, it's
he
weird
did a
because
thing like go see this movie, save the kids.
Mel.
But the quote that made me laugh my ass off was sometimes it was someone posted. Sometimes I forget that he's culturally Australian, and then I laughed so hard.
No, we disowned him.
I'm sorry, anyway, please continue.
No. It's funny. Like he directed Passion of the Christ. The guy who played Jesus is now a weird. Jim Caviezel now is a weird MAGA guy, and like I think that's probably the connection with the new movie. So,
So
just stop being. Everyone should just stop.
Well, did you hear again to the Twitter sphere? Some lady was said so that there's a conservative again QAnon thing that like all human babies are now being trafficked in from Ukraine because COVID made it so like women in the West can't have babies. So it's like this whole crazy thing. And someone
You should stop talking about this.
No.
garbage.
Someone on the internet, someone on Twitter posted. Everyone's just like, there's no normal crazy people on Twitter anymore.
Yeah.
It's like full balls to the wall.
But that's
100.
what we just said. It's just Nazi Twitter now. Like there's
And just like like
Yeah.
I mean,
There's
there's
no
a point
moderation,
where there's a point where
there's no moderation. There's plenty of ethottery going on.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
There's no moderation.
That's
unless you're speaking out against what
Exactly.
Elon is.
Yeah.
Well, we've talked about the conservative conspiracy problem before.
Yeah.
But it's like there's no slow
You just
ladder
jump-
to climb.
You just jump off a cliff.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
no Bigfoot first, then Atlantis, then aliens, then the reptilians. Now it's straight from I think the government's out to get me to the trafficking babies in from Ukraine and Western women can't get pregnant anymore.
Yeah.
And it's like obviously untrue, but they buy it hook, line, and sinker, and it's kind of funny, but it's also sad.
scary.
Anyway,
It's
back to
scary.
movies.
I'm sorry.
Anywho,
Yeah, Lethal Weapon.
That's rich
Yeah.
judgment coming from the man that's like, there's 8 foot tall Ayla males coming, you know.
They're not 8 foot tall.
There's that video in Texas where the family were filming. They're calling the cops. They're like, they're just right near my truck. There's nothing on the video. You watch the video. There's nothing happening.
Why is it Rich coming?
the alien virginity.
Are you talking about me?
I
Yeah,
haven't seen it.
you're all about like you can't bring in the babies from Ukraine, but damn,
All right,
you know,
Alan, come on, man.
Alan, you know what we mean. Like there
Alright.
could be life out there. We don't claim to know, but we're also not like Pizzagate.
Yeah. What James
I'm just
said.
saying the fanaticalness. It's
I'm not a fanatic.
We're not fanatic. There's a difference.
What are you talking about?
the-
Can you mute his mic? He's drunk or something.
Yeah, actually, when you came in, I was like,
It's just smelling the mandarin.
Alan, did you drive here?
Was
or
that
did you get dropped?
fermented mandarin you ate?
Did you drive here or did you get dropped off? Okay. Do we need to take his keys off?
I know. But comes
Anyway.
in here swinging. We're just here to talk about movies.
Look,
Alan.
there's a
Calm down.
difference between
It's a big difference.
There's a difference between Aliens, David Grush, Ross Coulthart,
Also,
and everything else.
Callum
going on.
wouldn't like attack someone if they said, "Oh, I don't believe in aliens." Like he wouldn't like go to someone's house with a hammer, like Nancy Pelosi's house or whatever.
There's a difference between the realm, the stuff in the realm of possibility, right? Like, was it Chuck Schumer? What his name is?
Yeah.
Came out being like, we're having press briefings on the UAP
like-
issue. There's diffences between
Anyway,
things.
yeah,
We'll
talk about that
and
in
drinking
another-
baby's blood to stay eternally young.
It's different.
Like,
there's different levels of conspiracy
crazy.
and crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at the same time.
Oh,
I'm just
God.
saying.
This episode went off the rails.
Like I said, I like to be plays the devil's advocate kid. So drinking a baby's blood to stay young is not extremely different from the idea that they steal young boys' foreskins and put them into beauty cream that, you know, it helps you de-age, right? Right, when you think about it. You think about it, huh?
One is a
I'm very close to hitting the dumb button.
yeah.
and
I'm
muting his
just
mic.
saying that is like child mutilation.
One
you
is
know?
a pharmacological.
Wait, we're not defending child mutilation.
I don't know.
What are you talking about?
I'm saying that people say that
I feel like Alan
It's-
maybe has been
it's
on
whole
the
out there.
internet a little bit too much.
It's whole-
You've been on 4chan a
Callum
bit
needs
too
to get
much.
off Twitter. Callum needs to get off 8chan.
You know what I mean?
All right, let's get
We
back
need to
on
talk
You
about-
track.
can't even have an
Alright,
opinion
let's go back
now.
on
See,
track.
All right.
see, they're
I'm-
keeping me down.
Let's get
Send
back
help,
on track.
Alright,
listeners.
alright.
Send help, cousins.
All right, Callum, what movies have you been watching lately?
All right,
Callum's shooketh.
yeah, that's it. You know, you come here to talk about movies, and all of a sudden, your friend comes in trying to derail things.
I'm sorry, they introduced a new alien bill. That's all. I'm just saying.
So I watched Andrei Rublev by Andrei Tarkovsky,
Oh yeah,
which I forgot to bring for you, James. I'm sorry.
that's all right. I'll get off another time. I don't have time to watch it anyway.
And I was a bit nervous. Is the wrong word. I was a bit apprehensive because it's a 3-hour movie by Andrei Tarkovsky. You know, about the life of a real Russian painter, 3 hours long. I was like, this could either be really interesting or really
Is it
boring.
like 15th century or something?
Yeah, 15th century. Yeah. A real Russian painter a monk who painted monasteries and chapels and things. And it's probably his best movie that I've seen. So I haven't seen Mirror or Sacrifice.
Yeah.
Sacrifice? Yeah.
Oh, I can't remember.
So, but I think it's his best. It's told. So like, you know, like the problem with Tarkovsky is like he holds religion really closely to his chest.
Yeah.
And when he's adapting someone else's work, that can cause issues when he's trying to force his worldview onto something else. But this one, it's like a pure biopic, if you will. So it's like the life of a person. So he sticks to, I guess, what the points are. I don't know if he took, since I don't know the story of Rublev, I don't know if he took liberties or not.
Yeah.
But it seems pretty faithful. And it's this really interesting story about Russia as a society in the 15th century, about a group of people traveling monks and the towns they find themselves in. and you really colorful cast of characters, you know, like acrobats and interesting people, you know, peasants, lords, soldiers, and this type of thing, and how they interact with each other. You've got the Tatars in quotation marks, like, you know, the Mongolian invaders, and it was really interesting to see how they, you know, their interactions with the Russians, you know, as this weird band who come in. Sometimes they kill, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they steal. And it's just fascinating.
It's an interesting history.
Yeah, fascinating, like, tapestry of a country. And I was moved by it because it takes place over years. So you see how characters age and forget each other, come back to a town, remember each other, and just also he was such a master of, like, really, he had, like, no money. He had $1 million rubles to make the film, which isn't a whole lot, I think, for making a movie like of this length. Well, for any length, I don't know what the conversion rate is back in.
Film as well,
I don't know what the conversion rate was back in, like, whenever this was 50 something or whatever, or 60 maybe
60 something, yeah.
Anyway, he built stuff as well as he could given the budget. It looks great. Like, it doesn't look like a cheap film because apparently it was pretty cheap to make because he couldn't get the money he wanted.
Yeah.
And it looks great. Like, you can't tell, which is the mark of a true master, is when they know how to cover things up. Yeah. And it, like, the most interesting part of the film for me was there's a scene where they have to make, or the characters at the time, have to make a bell, like one of the old school chapel bells. And it's this kid who's in charge because his dad was the master builder, like the master bellsmith, if you will. And he lies and tells the town that his dad told him the secret, so he knows how to do it. Yeah. But he only knows the basics. Yeah. And so you get to see them, like, make this bell, but, like, they carve the tunnels for the molten magma or whatever, and he has to find the right type of clay. And it's this really interesting scene where there's, like, stakes. You can feel the stakes as he has to get it right, or the Lord will punish him or whatever. Yeah. And it's just so cool to see them make this stuff, doing things with their hands, pulling levers and pulleys, and it was great.
That's always fun to watch.
I recommend it's his second most approachable movie, which is surprising.
What's the first?
Ivan's Childhood, which is the war movie.
Yeah,
I recommend it, cousins.
Yeah, because I mean, I think I've talked about it a long time ago. I don't know if I talked about it recently, probably before the pandemic. Like, I've mixed feelings towards Tarkovsky movies, and but I always wanted to watch Andrei Rublev, and I was like, that's the last one I'm willing to give a chance.
Well, it's very religious, but that's because it kind of has to be.
But that's it's about.
But it's not. It doesn't.
I'm not against.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
It's just the way he
forces things on. Yeah.
Especially in Stalker, which is really got under my skin.
Yeah, he doesn't really do that in this film. It's all pretty. Because there's a scene where there's some pagans, and, you know, they're doing their pagan business in the woods, and then they, you know, the Catholics or whatever they are find out and start, you know, beating them and lynching them and stuff. And Andrei Rublev's looking on in horror. You know what I mean? So it's even a whole kind of. It's not entirely pro-church. It's kind of like this. He's a man watching terrible things happen, and he has to consider what that means and his actions. Yeah, I thought it was great.
No, I'll have to borrow it off you and
I thought it was awesome. And the transfer, so there's been a couple different transfers of this film, apparently, and some of them are rubbish, but the one from Kurzov, Artificial Eye.
Curzon, yeah. That was a really good transfer. So it's if you can get the good transfer, watch it. Yeah,
I'll,
if I like this one, then I'm willing to give Mira...
Did you watch Solaris?
Yes. I watched... I know I've talked about it before. Yeah. I watched Stalker and Solaris and was kind of like, I like a lot of it, but I don't like a lot of it. Yeah, and I just had this weird mix. Yeah. And then I watched Ivan's Childhood and I'm like, this is a bit better, but every time it's not about Ivan, it goes back to what I don't like about Tarkovsky. And Tarkovsky's a filmmaker I should love because of how slow and methodical and weird and whatever he is. Yeah. But it just something rubs me the wrong way. So Andrei Rublev's like my last.
Yeah. Well, I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah. It seems like something I would enjoy.
Yeah, but I think its Sacrifice is his more religious-y one because it's about a man. The world's ending. It's about a man trying to make a deal with God to save himself or something. So that'll probably be one you hate.
We'll see.
But yeah. No, that's me. I also watched The Cure for Wellness again. Yeah. And man...
Is it... It's A Cure.
A Cure.
A Cure for...
A Cure for Wellness. And like, you know, like... it gets 46% of Rotten Tomatoes.
Dude, we saw that at the cinema when it came out. We're like, this is awesome. And then we saw it got awful reviews, and no one went to see it. And we're like, what?
I rewatched it, and then Dane DeHaan.
What happened to that guy?
Yeah, no, I looked him up before. He's been in a couple of TV shows in 2021.
Yeah.
Like, he deserves to be like a leading man. You know what I mean? He was briefly. Valerian tanked him, I reckon.
Yeah, that was. I think the problem is he's a very specific.
Well, one of the actresses had a major drug problem after that movie, so that movie tanked multiple people's lives.
I think the thing is like he's got a very specific vibe.
Yeah.
So you can't really cast him.
Yeah.
As a lot of different things.
But man, such a cool film.
It's awesome. It's almost like a giallo, like a Italian, old Italian horror movie.
Yeah, like Lovecraftian undertones.
Yeah,
and it's just
looks good.
It's just so cool.
Yeah,
I loved it. I mean, I've seen it before.
I know people always use that word underrated or whatever.
Oh, this one literally
probably
underrated.
would be applicable.
This one has the I think when it was being released on DVD, they're like future cult classic.
Yeah, it does. It says it on the Blu-ray cover, and
they're right.
To us at least. Yeah.
I appreciated it. It was a good film.
Did you watch it with us?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was unnerved by the scene where he's in the big tank and then the nurse comes along to the guy that's supposed to be monitoring him in the tank.
Yeah.
They had their little session.
Yeah.
While he's like borderline drowning or something.
Yeah.
So I forgot about a scene in the film where he gets a tooth removed, and they force his mouth open
and drill into it.
Yeah, and they drill, but you see like pretty much the whole thing.
Nathan,
yeah, but
I had a dentist appointment today. Thank you. But everyone listening is extra visceral right now.
It's on my TV in like high def. I'm sitting close to it, and it looks so good. I'm just like cringing. Like,
I think it doesn't matter who you are. Teeth-based horror is like the worst.
Oh yeah,
it doesn't matter who you are.
There's a reason. Fingernail's also pretty strong, I reckon. Anyone that's lost a fingernail, at least.
Yeah, but there's a difference between that and then people doing stuff to your face.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like eye stuff is bad, but
anything to do with like the
not
face.
The bees.
There's a reason.
Not the bees.
Not the bees. There's a reason people don't. No one likes going to the dentist.
Yeah.
There's like a reason that's a cliche or whatever the word is. That's a known thing.
I also watched.
Sorry to all our dentist listeners.
Yes. No, we're not anti-dentites. To quote Seinfeld. I also watched the Shanghai Noon, Shanghai Nights duology, and so much fun. They don't make action movies anymore like that, at least.
Yeah.
Just fun adventure action movies. And
action comedies.
I'm sorry for taking up so much time, fellas.
That's all right.
I'm halfway through watching Shutter Island for maybe this third time since it came out at cinemas.
I think I've only seen that movie once.
Now, it's really interesting.
It's such a great time.
I remember I watched it once and I'm like, as soon as it started, I knew what the twist was.
Well,
and then it ended and I was just like, oh, that was pretty good. And then everyone was talking about how great it was. And I'm like, well,
it's interesting. So I've seen it. I know what the twist is.
Yeah.
So when I'm rewatching it, I'm picking up all these little cues, and I'm like, it's an interesting rewatch because it almost changes when you watch it. Because
I have to watch it again. So you said you got it on 4K?
Yeah, it looks great.
Okay, I might get it.
Because I'm a slow guy. I didn't pick up the twist immediately when I watched it the first time.
Oh, I'm not saying that to be like, I understood. It's just this movie specifically. I'm like, I know what it's going to be.
Actually,
when I saw the trailer, I'm like,
doing the rewatch, there are little hints.
Yeah.
It does a lot of foreshadowing.
Yeah.
But it's like it almost changes the movie completely when you're rewatching it, and then you see Mark Ruffalo smile when he says something that's a bit on the nose.
Yeah.
Or you'll see a doctor give him this look like, well, hurry up with this charade.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's an interesting rewatch. So
like immediately when you restart the film, you'll see when they land at the island.
Yeah.
They have to give up their guns. And you see that Mark Ruffalo
can't get the gun out.
He's not a real cop. So he's like struggling to get the holster and everything.
Spoiler warning.
Yeah. That's but that doesn't all right, but still, I mean, you should have already seen it by now.
Yeah,
people.
It's an older movie.
Yeah,
it's an older
movie.
We'll be generous. We'll be generous.
But it's so nice if you do watch it again to see those things. I remember the very first time I watched it, just that scene immediately kind of like blew me quite a bit back was when the lady picks up the glass to drink the water. But then you see it from, I think it's Leo's perspective, and there is no glass. She's just like picking up nothing.
And
I'm like, what's going on here then?
Yeah.
So, because I'd obviously gone in with no understanding of what anything was supposed to be. Like, I was like just plain, and obviously getting to the twist at the end and everything else, I was quite happy. And then the extra crispy twist right at the end.
Yeah.
I was quite pleased with that.
So
I'll have to rewatch that too.
That's pretty much.
So many movies, so little time.
Oh man, I know. That's pretty much all I've got.
Before we get to Alan real quick, we'll be right back after this. You're back on the Tuesday review. Kicking it back this week, a bit of a slow one, talking about what we've been watching lately.
Yeah.
Alan, what movies have you been watching?
I've been watching movies, but I have been watching Bluey.
This show.
And look, as a person who doesn't have kids, but is frequently in the role of taking care of some kids.
Your nephews.
Yeah, my cousins who...
cousins, sorry.
They're basically like my nephews because my uncle is basically like an older brother.
The age difference.
Yeah. So just watching a few episodes of that, one person described it to me as like a love letter to kind of parents and parenthood. And that's probably the best way to describe that show. Because it's such it's a kid-friendly show. But you see so much of like the parents' perspective as well. And you like, your kids are fighting over who gets to have the bigger lick of the ice cream or something. And the dad just in there be like, all right, okay. That kind of thing. Like, you very much see what the parents are going through at the same time as the kids.
Yeah.
So it's a show that kids will enjoy. But if you are a parent, you can also sit there and watch it and kind of relate, which is, I think, a great time. Like, or a caregiver, I should say.
Yeah.
It's one of those... I wouldn't say it has like the same comedy as something like a Rocko's Modern Life, or even...
they're different shows.
More modern, something like Gravity Falls.
Where
those are very much a...
Bluey, Bluey and like Peppa Pig, that's the same sort of wheelhouse. But
whereas Peppa Pig, there's not much for the adult.
But still Bluey and Peppa Pig are in that same like very young kids.
Young kid.
Whereas Rocko's is like definitely for like older kids and adults. And there's a lot of like risque innuendo and all this stuff. Yeah.
For a little bit of context, I mean, I'm pretty sure Rocko ended up working in a phone sex line.
I wouldn't be surprised, yeah.
But I don't think he quite realises that.
Yeah, he doesn't realise. Yeah. He's like, oh baby.
Yeah.
And then it turns out to his neighbour, Mrs. Big Head.
Did you watch the 1 hour special, Netflix special they did like 2 years ago?
I think I watched the start of it.
It was actually pretty good.
Yeah. So we'll go back
surprisingly.
Yeah. Apart from that, I don't think I've been watching very much, unfortunately, which is, a sad thing. I'm sad that From is done, Yeah. And now it's probably not coming back for a while either because the strike.
Yeah.
But, he's looking forward to something. Should I start on Silo?
You should start on Sopranos.
Okay, so...
Don't you do this to me? Yeah.
I said you should start on Sopranos.
Oh, well, yeah, definitely that.
But I'll do that when you guys watch The Wire.
I've seen... You don't have to tell me.
Yeah, I've seen most of The Wire.
You got up to last season and then went, I'm going to watch some crap.
I will. I'm watching movies first on my Blu-ray.
Speaking of Silo, shout out to listener Elise, one of the OG cousins. She messaged me and was like, you guys have to watch Silo and talk about it.
I've seen the first few
episodes. I'm not going to say we're going to do that anytime soon because stuff's crazy. But we'll definitely check it out.
Definitely not in the next 4 or 5 weeks at least, but we'll get to it.
4, 5, 6, 7. I don't know when. I'm not going to say. Yeah. But yeah, we'll definitely check it out and talk about that.
Well, look, my mum watched it all and she loved it.
Because I was like, oh yeah, it looks okay, but I wasn't. But when Elise was like, you guys have to watch it and I think you guys will like it, I'm like, okay, we'll check it out.
I'd imagine next week is going to be the Oppenheimer special.
The Barbenheimer special.
No, not everyone's going to watch the Barbie.
Well, you can leave after the first half, my friend.
Just come and see Barbie.
No.
Just Mr.
Alan's
Toxic.
a man, toxic
Alan has a bit of toxic masculinity.
You know
what? He doesn't know who Greta Gerwig is.
He also doesn't have all the facts, so leave him alone.
Yeah, he's a peasant.
I just think you guys are getting part of a meme.
No.
So I'll beat you off right here.
James, can you please explain to Alan part of the reason we're going to see this film?
Okay. Do you know Marriage Story on Netflix? No. Do you know the Meyerowitz stories on Netflix?
No.
Do you know...
Francis Ha.
Yeah.
That's the part where...
No.
Okay. Have you watched Lady Bird?
You said Lady Bird. You wouldn't have seen Lady Bird. No. You definitely would have seen Little Women because it has women in it and you're like, oh,
no, all I know is
toxic masculinity.
There was an episode of The Simpsons in the soup kitchen.
Oh, yes.
They were no longer little girls.
They were
little women. That's a classic episode.
Yeah. Anyway, the writer and director... of Barbie is Greta Gerwig, and she's co-writing it with Noah Baumbach, two amazing writer filmmakers. Yeah. So this movie is legitimately going to be good and not just generic studio.
The people making
crap.
it are what we would call auteurs.
Yes, and
It's like if Scorsese made a Barbie movie.
almost like it's
You know
like
what I mean?
someone legit with legit chops making it. And also the trailers look good. They
Yeah,
don't
Ryan
like,
Gosling looks hilarious.
even if I didn't know who Greta Gerwig was, I'd be like, this actually looks funny.
Yeah, and the more that I see, the more juvenile humor I see that doesn't seem to be exclusively aimed at little girls. It's in there. There's lots of humor in there that's kind of dirty. There's a lot of really
Innuendo.
interesting innuendo.
Yeah.
So it's not. I think people are also getting the wrong impression of this film because at the end of the day, it's written by very intelligent screenwriters who are able to deliver for multiple audiences at the same time. It's not just for women or little girls. It's an actual blockbuster film.
Yeah.
So what's the runtime of this film?
No, probably like 90 minutes.
100 minutes maybe.
But you come see with us.
Look,
You'll be
we've
fine.
already booked tickets. We'll tell you when the session is. It's up to you if you
All
want
right.
to come.
You should come. Just tell your mummy going out day drinking or whatever else she thinks a man
1 hour
will be
and
doing.
55 minutes.
I'm
hours.
hitting the gym for.
You're going out the door and your dad's like, where are you going?
I'm not going to see.
He's all
Barbie.
dressed in
Yeah.
pink.
yeah.
I'm not.
Oh, like, all I'm
I'm
saying
going to
is,
beat up.
I'm going to beat up people outside the
I'm gonna
Barbie
go beat
premiere.
up the homeless. That's what I'm gonna go do.
Not Julie.
Go to the gym.
Look, all I'm saying is we're gonna go watch Barbie and then have a barbecue.
Yeah, it's Barbie Day.
Yeah, so you're coming for the barbecue, assumedly.
that's
So you're going to miss
It's
out.
Barbie Day.
Yeah.
It's Barbie Day. It's fine. Come on, man.
Anyway, he will. If
Anyway,
yeah.
tune in next week because it's going to be a
It's a big
big
one.
episode.
Explosive, you might say.
Yeah. Nuclear. It's pronounced nuclear. Should I?
I'm done.
Okay. Well, I haven't been watching a lot of movies. Stuff has been so crazy at work and at home and with the behind the scenes of the show. So I've had not a lot of time to watch anything. But the last movie I watched was about a week or so ago, which is unusual for me. It was Robert Altman's Three Women, which I'd never seen before, and I got the Arrow Blu-ray. It's an older Blu-ray, but it's still good. And yeah, it was really good, really interesting movie. Maybe a little different than the other Robert Altman movies I'd seen, just because it's got a slight... I guess it came out in 1977, so it's kind of like the same year as Eraserhead. So it's you can't say it's Lynchian, but
What's Altman done apart from Three Women?
he did the original MASH movie. He did McCabe and Mrs. Miller. He did Nashville. He did
Because the name's familiar. I'm just trying to
Thieves
think.
Like Us. He did the Popeye with Robin
That
Williams.
might be what I'm thinking of.
Oh, he did Long Goodbye.
Long Goodbye.
Yes,
there
yes,
you go.
yes,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm on. Okay, I gotcha.
That's yeah. So it's still got his signature overlapping dialogue, kind of moving camera, kind of quote unquote realism. But this one felt a little bit more Lynchian, what would later be called Lynchian. There's a weirder underlying weirdness and a sort of dreamlike quality to
Cool.
it that I don't. His other films have elements of
Surrealness,
that. Yeah.
yeah.
His other films have elements of that, but not to this extent. And so
Cool.
that was interesting. And it's also, one of Shelley Duvall's like big great performances, and Sissy Spacek's in it. She's great. And yeah, it's just a cool kind of 70s. It's not a period piece because it's made in the 70s, but watching it now, you're like the way people
takes on a
dress and-
period quality.
yeah, and the way it's shot, obviously, it's not... As it's Robert Altman, it's not very stagey and it's not very Hollywood. It's very... Like Long Goodbye, it's very kind of gritty and...
Lived in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not... I don't know if documentary style is the
No,
word,
I know what you
but
mean.
you know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean, yeah. And yeah, it has a really kind of weird... I think Callum, I think you'd like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got a cool vibe.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I think we're out of time. Oh no, we got.
No, we've still got
Oh, we still
15
got time.
minutes.
Well, should we do
Yeah.
quick? We'll do quick TV.
Just quick TV. What have I been watching? I've been watching The Simpsons.
what
on
season you up to?
30?
Oh, almost done.
I just saw a really good episode, actually.
Oh, really?
I think it was called Dadicus Finch, something like that, where Lisa gets super into To Kill a Mockingbird, and she imagines Homer as Atticus Finch.
Oh no.
And then, so Homer kind of takes on this Atticus Finch persona in the episode, and Bart does some prank that goes wrong, and Homer sits out front of the house like Atticus Finch, being like, "You coming here to see the boy?" And it's really kind of southern. It was very funny. I'm like, is this an uptick? We'll see.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, I know.
But good effort. You've made it through 30 seasons in less than 2 years.
Yeah.
See, we should have had you keep a little like journal.
This is what finish The Wire, then worry about Jesus.
I should be I know what Alan's going to say. I should be keeping notes on every episode that I watch.
Not every episode.
Just notable ones.
Just notable ones so that when you're
I'm going to start doing that.
You can then help out the people.
Oh,
so we don't waste our time.
Like what's worth watching.
I'll go back the last couple of seasons and I'll write down the names and some thoughts about notable
and then
episodes.
I'll watch them and I'll tell you they're not funny and you're wrong.
Yeah, okay. Alan will agree with me and we'll fist fight in this show. What other TV? I'm just watching YouTube. I've been going down every now and again. I go down the rabbit holes of like travel kind of YouTubers.
Yeah.
This one is a different one that I've been watching, but it's some guy at the moment going through deep Appalachia in West Virginia.
Appalachia. I've learned that it's actually pronounced Appalachia.
Appalachia.
Yeah.
Sorry for being insensitive to our Appalachian listeners.
Appalachia, yeah. Shout out to our Appalachian listeners.
We actually do have.
Was it Virginia?
Yes, according to Anchor,
does the Appalachians, are they in Virginia?
They are. I'm pretty sure they are.
Okay.
So if you live in Appalachia, hit us up.
Yeah, definitely. If you live anywhere, hit us up.
It's interesting. It's I like some of these kind of very amateur kind of travelogue stuff.
They're more interesting than the polished.
They're interesting because it's just you just go and see. Like you go and see some random town and they talk to the locals about like what's life like here. I'm like, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Other than that, I haven't been watching too much. TV, Callum's probably haven't been watching too much TV. Well, he's probably been watching wrestling.
Yeah, the wrestling. I've been watching the wrestling, which is so good at the moment. They're on such a high swing.
Yeah, you were telling me about the
Collision, the new show. Oh,
yeah,
on AEW.
Yeah, it's gold. At the moment, it's gold. And this is one of the things where, like in a few months, it might be the worst it's ever been. You just don't know. You know what I mean? It just depends on who they've got going. But
at the run at the moment.
It's a dynamic art. You know what I mean? So at the moment, it's great. But anyway, I did want to bring up while we're on the TV segment. I haven't watched Secret Invasion. Mm-hmm. But boy, have I seen some things from behind this, some stills, I should say, and some little clips that make me question how committed is Disney to this. Because I saw a scene where Samuel Jackson and someone else were like, in a war zone area. But they're very clearly in front of a green screen, and the people behind them, like the war zone area, is from like it looks different. So it's like, it's very clearly they're not really physically there.
Goes back to what we were saying at the start of the show.
Why not have actors in the scene? Why is it just two people?
The alleged budget for this show has come out to be something like closer to $250 million.
I'm seeing pictures from this show.
But we talk about it with every Marvel movie and every superhero thing. It's like they spend all this money.
Yeah.
And they spread themselves so thin that some of the CGI, might look pretty good. But a lot of it just sticks out like a sore thumb.
Like I said, I don't know how committed they are anymore.
Remember Shang-Chi?
Yeah.
The opening
wagon. Remember how fondly we looked at WandaVision? And even Falcon and Winter Soldier.
But even that had awful CGI.
Yeah, but even then, it wasn't that bad. And now you look at some of the stuff they're coming out with, and it's like...
I think it's just...
Spoiler alert.
No, it's all over the net, man. It's like
that's still spoiler, man. Not cool.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Not cool.
We'll cut that out.
Oh, Nathan's not going to go through it. Write it down. It's near the end. It's 10 minutes before the end.
49 minutes into the recording. All right. Callum says a goof.
Yes, Callum says a goof, so there's going to be
there'll be a bleep. I'll bleep it because it's funnier.
Are you actually going to bleep it, or are you going to get lazy and just cut it out?
I'll bleep it because I've said I'll bleep it. I'll have to bleep it.
Okay. We're gonna title this episode "I'll Bleep It," so that you have to.
Yeah.
Anyway, I apologize for that, but my point is, I don't know how committed they are to this big Marvel machine.
Look, we talked about it. They're spreading themselves too thin. It's too much. It's this.
I do want to see it explode.
Quality. What?
I want it to implode. I do.
Yeah.
I like the Marvel stuff. I watch all the stuff, but it's gotten to the point now. It's like I don't really.
The further it goes on, the more I think it should have ended with Endgame.
I would really be. I'm invested in Hollywood as megacorp idea of...
Oh, yeah, bring it all down.
Bring it all down.
Yeah.
Let's just go back to independent movies.
Bob Iger, who we established early on in the Tuesday Review run, listens to the show.
A friend of the show.
You're banned. You can't listen to the show. You can't come on the show.
Yeah, that's it.
You suck. Go to hell.
Yeah, you can come back. You can come listen to the show once the strike has resolved.
Pay your writers. Pay your
Yeah, and stop being such a douche.
That's it. We can't protect you from Ron Perlman.
Alan, do you have any television?
No, just
you had Bluey.
Yeah, Bluey.
Just Bluey, you already talked about.
Yeah,
Just,
You guys you finished from.
yes.
Yeah. We don't talk. We don't need to spoil from. But just
No,
go watch
I
it.
want to watch it, so don't spoil it.
Go watch it. We're not gonna say anything about it. Just go watch it.
Yeah. So again, I haven't had a lot of time to watch anything, but I did finally get around to watching season 2 of Yellowjackets.
Good?
Which is really good, yeah. And I mean, I'm a little disappointed that the strikes are happening just because I'm assuming it takes a while to make in the first place. So this is just going to delay things more. And, I want to see what happens next. I think it's maybe as good as the first season. I don't know if I wouldn't really put one above the other.
Does it continue with that Stephen King-esque feel of like having present day and then past?
Yes, it's a dual timeline thing. So it's like
I do like
a scene from the past, scene from the and they're kind of juxtaposed.
I do like that.
Yeah. And this season, I think, introduces a little bit more supernatural element, which is good, which is not bad. But I'm hoping the future seasons don't go too far.
Go bananas.
Yeah, and I'm hoping it's not a lost situation where they kind of lose their way and they don't know. I have faith in them. I think they're going to do well. I think they know what they're doing. But because there is that flashback, do you remember in Lost there was flashbacks to have before they got to the island,
and it was basically meaningless.
Yeah, but then when they got off the island, there were flash forwards to when they were off, and it's just and I'm hoping it doesn't get into that territory. It hasn't got in yet, but I could definitely see them going that way. Yeah. So I hope, and I also hope it just doesn't end they were dead the whole time. But I have faith because the show is good. I'm making it sound bad. I'm just a bit worried because of the
Anytime there's a mystery box element,
yes, exactly.
It's the same problem me and Alan have with From at the moment.
Yeah,
it can go anywhere. That's not necessarily a good
anytime
thing.
There's an unexplained supernatural thing that you want left unexplained, but also want to learn more about. It's this double-edged sword of I want them to introduce more of that, but also
the way with Pine's problem, where they resolve, they show you what the problem is, and it sucks.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that was based on a book, but still.
David Lynch kind of started it all off with Twin Peaks, didn't he? Really?
No, that's Bob Iger's fault.
I know. No, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Double banned from the show. Because he
never wanted to reveal the killer.
Yeah,
and it would have been the first kind of the first show of that type.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, in Bob Iger's memoir, he admits that it might have been a mistake.
Yeah, might have been too little, too late, Bobby boy. Bobby.
Little did we know, Bob Iger was the real Bob of the real villain Bob of the series.
Right.
I'm pretty sure we've made that joke. Surely we've made that
Bob,
joke.
Yeah, killer Bob.
He's just creeping over the bed.
Killed these Twin Peaks.
But Yellowjackets is
Alan,
really
can
good.
you Photoshop Bob Iger creeping over a couch for us for the socials?
He has to see the original image of Bob from Twin Peaks and then just put the face, Bob Iger's face. Yeah. But Yellowjackets is good. Definitely check it out. Now that the strikes are happening, it might be a good time to just wait for shows to re-announce their next season until you start, which I know kind of sucks. And
the shows might get cancelled.
Also, they might get... That's another thing I'm worried about. I'm hoping they don't go, Yellowjackets, it costs too much money to drag this out while the strike's going. Let's just stop it. I really hope that doesn't happen because I like the show and I want it to keep going. And the same with a lot of other shows.
Severance.
Yeah.
They won't cancel that.
I hope not.
If they do, I'll have a swift strong with Tim Apple. We'll get everyone to cancel all their Apple products.
What did Ron Perlman say? We know...
we know
that we're not the only ones who'll lose houses. Mr. Tim Apple, Mr. Bob Iger. Allegedly, no...
in Minecraft.
In Minecraft.
We know what servers you play on. All right. I reckon that's about all the time we have for tonight. Thanks for listening, everyone. Please like and share the Tuesday Review Facebook page, Instagram, and Threads at Tuesday Review AU.
Yes. And make sure to tune in next week for a big
explosive
bonanza,
a beach off episode.
Beach off blow up bonanza. Beach off blowout bonanza.
Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely tune in.
Bam bam.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, everyone. We're back next week. Adios, cousins.